Yo, yo, yo. Trader Main here to let you know that the bull run is over. We're going to zero. I'm just kidding. Obviously, pretty ugly dump here. I'm really frustrated with myself as I analyzed and kind of predicted this move well in advance, had a plan, had triggers, and then just did not execute it. So I'm bummed. If you go watch some of my last couple of streams, my last videos from late April that I posted on Twitter, I talked about basically weekly swing failure pattern, daily break in market structure here, right? The low that generated the new all-time high. Expectation was a lower high. And that was the plan, was to short this. I tried to short it here. I tried to short it here. And then naturally, the one that ended up giving the GOAT, I didn't short. So what generally happens is the market will give you the clue that it wants to go lower, right? This was the clue, the break in market structure. And then you want to sell that lower high. You want to anticipate where it's going to be, and then you want to sell it. And generally, what happens is the market is going to push up, and it's going to push up so far that you start questioning your bias. And that's exactly what happened to me. Ethereum was super strong. Bitcoin was rallying really hard, and I tried to short, and ETH is like, at 4K at this point. And I'm like, fuck, maybe this is just going to do one of these. And I fudded myself out of, what would have been a great short. I even talked about it in last stream just a couple of days ago, shorting the daily bearish order block here. So this is the supply that led to the move down. We came up, we just wicked into it, and then sold off. You could have sold that stop up here. It even gave you the perfect OTE tap right there, right into your fib retracement. Daily SFP. Zoom in, 12-hour SFP. I even had a short I talked about here, but again, I didn't take it. I was fudded out, and obviously once we broke, down here again, this was probably the time to sell. Your last chance to sell, right into resistance here. If you zoom in to the H4, you basically had this last little rally right into an H4 order block. That again, this is a fractal of this daily move. H4 order block that broke market structure here. There's your pullback, there's your short. So this is all hindsight, right? All I'm doing here is showing you kind of my plan now that it did play out, that I was right, but I didn't trade it, so I didn't make money. I actually lost some money because I, was trying to short on the way up here. And I mean, not overall lost money, but then, tried to long the dip here a few times and got burnt. So all that is hindsight. It's in the past. It is what it is. I want to beat myself up for it. I want to be like, what the fuck? I want to go back and calculate how much money I could have made, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But that doesn't do you any good, right? No use crying over spilt milk. The move has happened, right? So what do you do now? So zooming out again to the weekly. This could just be the beginning of a larger sell-off here, unfortunately. So as much as it's like, okay, well, that's the weekly swing failure pattern playing out, this could put in another red weekly here. Basically, the key level that I'm watching, and this has been the same level for a while now, is this is our weekly market structure here. Ideal situation for alts and everything is this. Ideal situation for bullishness is we do not close the weekly below here. If we get a weekly close below here, I think that is very bad. Ideal situation for Bitcoin to make a new all-time high is obviously reverse from where we are right now is obviously the ideal. We wick below here, maybe close back above, or we get some sort of wick below this low into this weekly demand that has not been tested yet by this pullback. It did not. So you run this low, that would freak the shit out of people. And then hopefully it's just a wick back above, and then that's what we need to move back here, and then obviously to a new all-time high. Right now it doesn't look great. This daily candle is quite ugly. Hopefully this next daily candle closes as an SFP. We get some sort of modicum of relief. But I'm not really interested in being super bullish on BTC here. I'm not trying to say short right here. I think if you're buying spot or whatever, sub 50K down into the low 40s, hoping for a new all-time high, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what you don't want to be doing, I think, is, unless you know what you're doing, is just opening up some sort of margin position after a big move like this. Generally, after a move like this, we see some volatility. So you don't want to get fucked up just trying to, nail the Pico bottom. If you do, be safe, use stops. Don't kind of overexpose yourself. Alts are rebounding relatively strong already. You can see like some alts are up, pretty nice already. Sushi, etc. Maybe Ethereum just bounces right back above 4K. Who knows? So this could be the low, but I kind of have a feeling that we get one more push down. And this is going to be like the exact video that I recorded here, where I was talking about a lower high and then a lower low. And then we did this, and everyone was like, haha, main was bearish at the bottom. So totally possible. I'm not trying to guess what's going to happen. I'm, as usual, laying out potential scenarios of what I think might happen, and then I'm going to execute on them. So for now, I have a feeling we do have another leg in us, maybe a little bit of relief, and then another leg down, and then hopefully a bounce or at least some sideways. I don't really want to see Bitcoin stay below this level for any significant period of time. Probably going to get some outsized returns on alts, as you can already see. Stuff is bouncing back much harder than Bitcoin is. Where do we get bullish again? I think you get bullish after big dumps, absolutely, or on like a reclaim of like some key levels. So if we're able to kind of get back above, this low, for example, that might be a reason to get in along into here, right? Something like that. But for now, unfortunately, didn't play this one as well as I had hoped, even though I'd kind of charted it correctly. Charting does not equal trading. So you can kick yourself after opportunities or after situations like this and look at your P&L and think what could have been, or you do some kind of hindsight analysis, figure out where you went wrong, and then move the fuck on, man. Because sitting here going woe is me and shit like that is not going to bring your money back. You can rush into trades and try and make it all back in one trade. Personally, after I do something like this or we have a big move like this, I like to kind of take a step back from the market. Maybe that means I missed the Pico bottom long, but I would rather have a day or so to kind of reset before I jump into a bunch of trades again. I'm not selling my spot here or anything like that. If anything, you sell your spot up here. You don't sell it down here. But just being aware, right? We could have another low and another attack, another spike below this low before correcting. Stocks look really heavy. The whole Vitalik situation, with Shiba Inu, the Elon tweet, all of these things are, narratives that you can apply to why Bitcoin is looking shitty. I guess the stock market looking shitty is not as much of a narrative as it is a correlation. But all of those things to me don't really do you any use. Like, unless you market shorted on the Tesla news, that news is kind of irrelevant at this point, right? Same with the Vitalik shit. That news is kind of irrelevant unless you shorted, the moment it came out. But I think Ethereum went higher anyways right after or shortly after. So it's usually in the charts. You're usually able to see these moves set up in the charts. And unfortunately, I identified this move setting up 2 weeks ago, this lower high, wanting to short it. And I was banging on a drum and I just got kind of sucked back into the bull momentum at the literal top, gave up on my short plan, started looking for longs, and I paid for it. So now we're back to the drawing board and we're kind of seeing, what can happen from here. So you live and you learn. It's always a lesson. No matter how long you've been doing this, you're going to make mistakes. And you gotta learn from them, right? Because if you're not learning from them, the end of the day, you're never going to improve, right? So if you're not looking back at missed trades, bad trades, things like that, and trying to reverse engineer where you went wrong, what you could have done differently, what's the point of tracking that type of stuff? That's the point of journaling and tracking your trades, especially when you're new, is being able to go and do that hindsight analysis, that, kind of post-mortem trade analysis, and see what you could have done better next time. So hopefully you don't make the same mistake again. But unfortunately didn't play this one as well as I could have. I'd love to be masquerading around on Twitter right now as if I had shorted the top, but I didn't, even though I had planned to. And we move on. So not a great look. Bitcoin looks kind of heavy. Ethereum, still too early to decide what's going on with this weekly candle. I posted a tweet basically saying if we don't bounce from here, and we got a little bit of a bounce, right? We had a little bit of a bounce within this candle. If you zoom in, we had this little bounce, but that was actually a great short up, unfortunately. I thought we'd be coming and retesting down here, and that's exactly what we did. We came in, we retested, we got a pretty nice bounce. Looking at the market as a whole, Bitcoin looks weak. Ethereum still looks relatively strong. And a lot of DeFi altcoins look good. If you look at some DeFi altcoins versus ETH, a lot of them look good, and I think this might be the play for the next little bit. Hopefully BTC doesn't just absolutely giganuke again, and maybe it goes sideways, maybe a little bit lower, but then some sideways, and then maybe even some up. But there might be some opportunities in some of these DeFi alt ETH pairs to get some kind of outsized gains, as they're going to be, I think, volatile. You got Sushi here. What's another DeFi alt? We can look at Aave. We can look at Aave USD divided by ETH USD. And a lot of these look like they're potentially bottomed out against ETH, and they might have a little bit of a run now. So that's something that I'm looking out for. Something I'm watching is going to be DeFi alts, especially versus Ethereum. Bitcoin, I'm kind of leaning towards potentially another leg down, but we just had one of our bigger red daily candles in a while. I think bottom to top, this candle was damn near, over 15%. That's a pretty big candle. We had some billions of dollars worth of liquidations. We ran a big low here on the daily. So some relief probably in the cards, but don't go burning yourself trying to revenge trade because you miss this and end up losing more money getting fucked up trying to trade the move after. Because these moves can be super volatile. And this might be like, oh, I caught the bottom, and then you step away and then it does another leg. So just be careful, but yeah, hopefully this is somewhat helpful. More so me just talking out loud a little bit. And yeah, if you guys got any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I will talk to you soon.